Welcome back to Out of the Spotlight. Our next guest is an actress who has left a very important mark in the sitcom industry. She has starred in various movies such as Daylight alongside Sylvester Stallone, as well as numerous sitcoms such as Family Matters, Martin, and of course, her unforgettable role as Angela Moore on Boy Meets World. That is Trina McGee. Trina forever changed the sitcom world by bringing us a new perspective, especially through her Boy Meets World character, Angela. She introduced us to one of the first interracial relationships seen on TV at that time. I mean, who doesn't know about Shawn and Angela, right? And by the way, Boy Meets World is one of my favorite TV shows of all time. She is someone who many people look up to and is also referred to as an icon. I can't believe I'm about to say, Trina McGee, welcome to Out of the Spotlight.
Thank you. Thank you. I take that title very heavily.
You have changed a lot of the industry with, TV and sitcoms, but also, just you.
Thank you.
I can't wait to chat with you more and get to know you a little bit more.
Yeah.
Let's go back in time and tell us a little bit about you and where did you grow up?
Well, I grew up in New York City, in Yonkers, Riverdale, and I went to school in Manhattan. For most of my elementary school, I was a scholarship kid. My mom was a single parent, African American. My father is Haitian, and as a matter of fact, my great-great-great-grandfather is the second president of Haiti, Jean-Pierre.
No.
Yeah. So I come from a royal bloodline. But needless to say, I went to school in Manhattan, and it was like a scholarship kid. The poor little girl goes to the really good school downtown, and it was it's called Manhattan Country School.
Okay.
And it was like a sliding scale income family thing where they would take really rich kids from the city, kids who lived in Park Avenue, and they would let inner cities kids come to this school too. It was big. You had 20 people in your class, and I went there to 8th grade, and then I went on to a school called Horace Mann, which was a predominantly all Jewish, very stark academic school in Riverdale, New York. So I've always been in these situations in my schooling where I really was like the only Black person, the raisin in the sugar bowl kind of experience. So that definitely prepped me for being Angela later. I would definitely say it wasn't anything too odd to me. And so then I went to Horace Mann, and then after that I went on to Howard University, which is an all Black college. And I went to school with Puffy, who I used to drive. He was Puffy then, now he's P. Diddy. But yeah, I used to drive him back and forth a couple of times, from the campus, because we both lived in New York. He lived in New Rochelle. And
That's
a lot
so
of
crazy.
Yeah, a lot of, and it was a great time. It was the time Howard was, for me, was a really prolific time, because it was the time of this movie came out with Spike Lee called School Days. So there was a whole persona of the Black college really got formed in Hollywood then, and I was there at that time. And a lot of other great actresses came out of that time. Debbie Allen and her sister Felicia Rashad taught drama there at the time I went there. And Debbie Allen did, and a lot of other great actors. Wendy, I don't know if you know Wendy Brickell Robinson. She went on to do the Steve Harvey Show and went to school with me at the time. Taraji was a year behind us. Paula Jai Parker, who did The Proud Family. So it was very, and actually Chris Rock's ex-wife was head of fashion.
No way.
She was head of the fashion world at Howard University, Balak Rock, so it was a very cool Renaissance time in the 90s, especially for me being young and being an African-American actress. It was a time they were using a lot of Black shows to build networks. And I found myself kind of in the middle of that. I left Howard after a couple of years, and I went back to New York, and I said, I really want to be an actress. Let me just go home and go for it.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And I ended up one day after a couple of years and, trying to get into agents and stuff, but really not that long, maybe about a year of that. I was auditioned for a part in a show called Divas, and Quincy Jones was the person who was fostering that along with CBS. And they tried out 800 girls all over the country. And it got down to 11 girls who had to compete. And the 11 girls were me, Lauryn Hill, Regina King, Sheena Arnold, I think, had backed out. Another girl named Lisa Nicole Carson, who was doing 2 shows, ended up doing ER and Ally McBeal at the same time. Just a really talented group. And Lisa Vidal, she worked with Gabrielle Union later. You know, Essence Atkins is one of the girls. She works with the Wayans brothers now. So we were all nobodies then. And we were all competing for 4 spots with this big Quincy Jones group that was going to be a TV show and a band, like the Monkees, which was a show in the 60s. I don't know if you remember.
Oh, yeah.
That. And so, and I ended up being one of the 4 girls, beating out Lauryn Hill. Okay.
Wow.
And
I'm clapping.
Yeah, thank you. And I also just to do in New York, I did off Broadway. I used to do hip hop musicals, and in the hip hop music, one time Lauryn Hill was one of the backup dancers when she was 16.
No way.
I was actually the lead in that. And then after I left to doing the hip hop musicals, MC Light actually went on to take my part in that. So I guess I've always been I'm like the grandmaster flash of everything. I just started and someone else gets but yeah, so that happened. And then after getting that part with Quincy Jones, the show never went, but I was in LA and I had an agent, and my agent that was just freelancing me before when I was doing little New York theater stuff, which wasn't little. I did 2 plays actually. I did it with a director called Ed Sheeran, who went on to do Law and Order. And in that play with me was Marissa Tomei. And so always was thrust right into the business, really well. So before Boy Meets World, that show with Quincy Jones didn't go, but I had an agent. And I ended up a couple of years later, I got married. I started a family with a young producer who used to work on the Martin Show.
Okay.
And then I then right before Boy Meets World, I got a show called a movie called Daylight with Sylvester Stallone. Nice. And that was a big game changer because we went 6 months in Italy. Now the movie itself was never a big hit, like the only probably flop Stallone has really had. But at the same time, it was very much life-changing. Shooting an action film in Italy for 6 months, and and I came back from that, and then I was like, I thought I was going to be, hot. I was really a hot actress, and it took about 18 months of still really going on a lot of auditions and pounding the pavement. And then I got Boy Meets World.
Yes.
And getting Boy Meets World was not easy either. I had to, first time I went into audition really quick, they told me they weren't interested.
Oh, really?
Funny. Yeah.
What?
But they told my agent that. And so I went to my agent's office and I was like, what do you mean? I really think because I knew, but this time of auditioning in LA, you knew everybody you were auditioning against. It was always the same 10 girls. I was like, no, I really think this is mine, Mm-hmm. And my agent was like, no, we're not calling back. Funny enough, there was a receptionist who was kind of getting dissed in my agent's office for her ideas of wanting to push certain actresses or bend the rules a little bit about contacting, producers and stuff. So they pushed her to the side. So I came out of talking to my agent's office like, oh, they're not going to let me try to push for me to be seen again. She was like, you know what? We should just call over there. I'll get you in again. I know that. And she was 20. She's 25 years old.
She's my hero. I like her.
25-year-olds actually did this. So she got me back in. And when I got back in, I guess on that round, Michael Jacobs had seen, my tape or whatever. And then I had to audition. I get this wrong, but I think it's like 3 to 5 more times. It's kind of a blur.
Wow.
But I had to go in at least 3 more times, I'll say, to be safe. And each time it was against me and 10 other girls, new girls, and it would be me. And these were the sessions with me, Michael Jacobs. And then the last session on this producer's round, he brought in Ryder, and I read with Ryder, and then I guess it was really locked in. But even in that, it was so stressful. I'd come back the next day and there'd be 10 new girls. And one of the girls, the new on the second day, I remember was Gabrielle Union.
No way. Oh, wait, for the role of Angela.
Yes. Yes. She read for Angela and some other really great people, but that I remember that, but she wasn't like the Gabrielle Union we know now. Back then, I remember I didn't make it for Bring It On. And
you auditioned for that too?
Yeah. I didn't come close on Bring It On, but I will tell you, I came close. I was the second choice to get Clueless, Stacey Dass's Clueless.
I kid you not. I could always see you playing that role. I always could.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But she did a great job. But just to say, I love everyone from Boy Meets World, but I really did put in the work before coming to Boy Meets World. I had years of pounding the pavement. I had done a Stallone movie. I'd also done a movie called Birdcage with Robin Williams, and it was great working with him.
That's
You know,
right.
and yeah. So then when that came, that's the story up to then. That's what kind of changed the course of my life, I'm sure, forever, you know.
Yeah. And at what moment did you realize that acting was something that you wanted to do full time? That you were like, you know what, I'm going to go for it. And clearly you did.
I think after I went to Howard, and I was a political science major at Howard, but I really was always interested in the entertainment business. Even like my last 2 years of high school, I used to cut high school in my last years to audition. My first audition ever was for the Cosby Show, and I actually cut class, you know, and I got in trouble in my senior year to go do that. So I kind of knew I really wanted to do it then. And then I presented it to my family, and my grandmother worked for the military and US Customs. And she was like, that's ridiculous. Well, there were nobody Black was really, the chances of me making it were so slim. So I really was discouraged by my family. I actually got into music and art for high school, but they made me, you know, they encouraged me. They made me go to the academic school, because they were like, you'll always know how to sing and dance. But so I was always
like that.
discouraged from it. But I think I'm glad, because I needed more of what the other stuff than to already know.
Yes.
All that stuff. So
exactly. And I love that. I love that. I mean, we do crazy things for the things we love. And obviously, when your family is saying no, but you're still going for it, I think that's a huge testament of this was definitely your calling. And whenever you finally got to the part where you were reading with Ryder, which is obviously Shawn, he plays Shawn Hunter, did you feel like, oh my gosh, this is for me, like I'm getting close to, you know, getting the part? Or was that just even more nerve-wracking for you at that moment?
I thought I was definitely, after I read with him, that day was pretty magical, because you know, the producer Michael came to give me notes, and reading with Ryder was very, very like natural. You know, we both had a certain cadence that worked together. So I really did think I have a really good chance of getting this part right after I read with him, I had to walk out into the hallway in front of other girls who were waiting. And some of them looked at me and smiled like, we really think you got it, you know, like, you know,
I like
so that was kind of an assurance. But yeah, that was definitely a magical feeling moment, reading. And then after that, and then you still have to go home and wait. They make you wait. You much as you think you might have got it, they let that weekend go by till that Monday. And you know, I remember it kind of being like that, you know.
So whenever you got the call, do you remember that? Like, where were you? Was it just crazy?
I was home. I had really small kids then, and then I was with my husband. And the thing about that whole thing is, when they called, they said, you have this reoccurring on Boy Meets World. But in my mind, I never heard it that way. I always heard it like you have a series regular role on Boy Meets World, you know. But so I think my mind willed it to be, you know.
Yeah. I agree. And you just mentioned kids, and that's something that I learned, I think, about maybe 2 months ago. Obviously, I grew up watching Boy Meets World. I still watch it. I feel like it's still my like comfort show. And I have heard that sometimes I just like to relax. And I did read that a lot of people that perhaps have anxiety, or if they just want to just shut down their brain, they will watch things that they know, because it doesn't make you think. So Boy Meets World is my comfort show. But I learned 2 months ago or so that you were about 10 years older than the rest of the cast.
Yeah.
What? I had no idea.
Yeah.
No idea.
Thank you. Well,
yes.
That was common back then. I mean, everybody in every show was older. 90210. Everyone was like 30, you know, but I was 25, 26 when I came on the show. So it was okay for me to have, you know, our little starter family. You know, I was married and it was quite legit. And my husband was in the business too. My husband at the time was in the business. And So it made sense, but everybody was doing it. Now, I don't know how they really put older people on shows now. I think they just put people their age more.
Yeah.
But back then it really wasn't a big deal. I didn't even think about it really. And because
Right.
I had never been because I always looked so young, I was never able to procure the parts
Yep.
of some of my friends. Like I remember seeing Regina King start to do an Eddie Murphy movie, and coming up with some of my friends, seeing them now doing wife parts, and like I
Yeah.
couldn't get arrested for a wife part back then. So
No,
I was
no.
very grateful that had come along.
And how old were your kids at the time?
Let's see, if I was 20, so my daughter was 3 when I got
Okay. Okay.
uh Boy Meets World, and then I had a son who was maybe 18 months behind, 1.5 or something.
Oh, they're
Yeah, and
really
then I had
old.
my last child I had when I was 26. I was on the show the first season. You can see towards the end, if you really look,
Uh-huh.
that I'm having my last child, Ezra.
No, I'm
Yeah, and
gonna go watch
mhm.
today.
You look for like okay, I'm wearing a white V-neck sweater, and she's kind of chasing me with I
Okay.
have a note or something. If you really look, you can see I'm
That
pregnant.
is so cool. Now you can tell you're on TV with me.
Yeah,
That is so cute.
yeah,
That is so
yeah.
cool. And that's something
Mhm.
else too that I admire about you because I mean you were yeah, married, a mom and you were still chasing your dreams and that's huge, especially for women. Obviously things I feel are getting easier to an extent. But yeah, back in the day it was like don't
I
really go after.
Ignorance is bliss, okay?
I
Because I never thought that. I grew up with
love that. Love that.
working women. I didn't have a father in the house, so everyone really had to work, and I just kind of figured you'd do it. I didn't think about it too much. Now that I'm older, I would say I would really just pick two. You can have two. You can have
Yeah.
a husband and a career, you can have kids and a
Yeah.
career, you can have just a husband and kids, but all
Yeah.
three is really
Yeah.
hard, and
Yeah.
I definitely feel like I paid the price for that in some ways. It's very hard to be totally present and do a
Mhm.
husband and be focused on a career and do them all well and give them all the attention that they need.
Yeah, especially when you're giving your all to a character and that's what you were
Oh
doing. I mean,
yeah.
you
Yeah.
Angela, to this day, I always read comments and messages and you made that character so relatable and I do thank you for that because it was refreshing for so many women and people who, are of color and are
Oh.
considered minorities. And how was it getting into character? Was it easy? Because I feel like you were so natural. I feel like you were just being you. But how was it and how much did it mean to you to be Angela and to join the cast?
Well, it meant a lot to me, and it meant more and more then and over the years as I saw how it affected other people. You
Yeah.
know, Back when I did it, I was just like I was just any other actress in LA trying to make it, and I thought, oh, it's in my world, oh, it's just this little show and I'll go on to do movies, and this is
Mhm.
just some kind of stepping stone thing to get me, on the map. I had no idea that the actual character would affect people like that. Um, I definitely was acting a lot, but I will say my voice and my cadence and a lot of it was me. And I do think they read my personality and kind of guessed how I
Mm.
would react in certain situations. But it's not hard to, the psychology of a person. A person who grew up maybe with a single parent isn't going to be possibly so apt to be in a relationship and be angst about it. So I wasn't a
Mm.
hard read,
Yeah.
but I think they did that with everybody after a while. They just took
Mhm.
our personalities and wrote them into the show, which was a really smart thing to do, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And then obviously your relationship with Ryder Strong, Shawn, Angela and Shawn, iconic, the couple that we all love. And it was one of the first interracial couples that we had seen on TV at that time. And the fact that people still talk about it is it's legendary. And what does it mean to you to have that or to have set that example of love? Like you can love whoever you want.
I think it's amazing, and it really, what I do like about is the organic nature of it. I
Yeah.
really, I really am Ryder's friend, and honestly, I didn't know men and women could be friends, but I really can say he's my
Yeah.
friend.
Yeah.
And it just, that's what shows on the screen. That's what people are responding to, that friendship. And I think it's really good. I think it's nothing forced. It actually generally is there when you're doing a show back then. And I have to say, now is really different. Like, it's 22 episodes, it's your whole life, it's your every day of the week, for a really large chunk of the year. You're seeing, you walk into a building, they close these big gates of the studio, and these are all the people you see, and you're spending way more time in a very kind of short amount of time than you are with your own family. So you're gonna make some friendships and bonds that only you will really understand for the rest of your life. I don't think that happens. Like, people do like 8 episodes now of something on Netflix, and they're like, probably, I don't think they're like, life-changing friendships anymore. But back then, that's the way it was. And I'm grateful, because I think that kind of care to the filming and the creation will stand the test of time, and it really has.
Absolutely. It has. And you nailed it. I think it had to do a lot with the friendship. And I mean, you guys seem to just, you spent a lot of time together, obviously. Speaking of that, do you have a favorite episode?
Okay, I have a couple of them.
Ooh, name them. Yes.
Of course, I like this. We call it the Scream episode, but I think it was called "And Then There Was Shawn." I love my part in it. I'm the screamer around here.
You're so good at it.
Thank you. I love that. And I love it. Someone made a comic book of that.
No, so a comic book.
Yeah. What? Of that episode. Yeah. So yeah, it's a very beloved episode. So I love the fans' reactions to it. And then I like, what else do I like? I like the obscure, I like some obscure ones. Like, I like there's one we had to do these bridesmaids dresses. That was really fun, trying on those dresses.
That's a funny one.
They would do these big pink things for her wedding. That was fun. And then, of course, I love the episode that there were 2 episodes that were focused on Angela. And I had actually asked Michael Jacobs, the producer, to write those. Can you make an episode about Angela?
Okay.
And I asked him once in the beginning of the season, and then once, do you think he could do it again towards the end? And he was gracious enough to comply. And so those, of course, were, I love the guy, Julius Harris, who played my father, and Angela's men, is a really amazing man. He was also in this movie called The Last Dragon, and he was this kung fu master called Shawn Hunter. So anyway,
he's so good. So good. And I love that we got to know Angela so much during those episodes, because that was so needed. And then to bring her father, it kind of gives you more of an idea how she was raised and brought up.
It takes it out of the token, the black girl. One of my worst fears was I'll just be the black girl on the Boy Meets World, the black girl on Boy Meets World. And that, having those episodes took it out of that realm into, this is Angela, the person.
Yes, I agree. I think Angela's Ashes was the name of one of those episodes. Was it
Angela's Ashes?
Yes.
And Angela's Men. Angela's Ashes is when I left, and when the character left.
Yeah. And that's so funny, because I was going to mention that. I do remember always thinking, where is Angela? Like, where is she? She's not on the last episode. Like, this is weird. And as you're older, you start thinking, oh, maybe she had something, something else to do, or another show, or maybe she was busy. But obviously, I love that you're so open and honest, because obviously you were open about this. I'll call it a misunderstanding that happened when you were made to believe that perhaps you weren't wanted, on that last episode.
Well, I'll definitely not call it a misunderstanding.
Yeah, what can we call it?
But I don't know. Just call it what it just is. What it is.
Yeah.
There are a lot of, back in that time, there was a lot of money going around to make a sitcom, and the people who are in charge of that money, they really have to, they had to, I don't know if they still do, but they have to wield certain tactics that have always been in place to keep people from not talking to each other, to keep salaries the way they want them to be, and we're definitely too young to talk to each other at like the people of Friends or Another Cow or the 90210 cast. We were, I'm 10 years older, but I'm really 26 is not that old,
No,
25, and they're kids. So, when was that going to happen? So yeah, it wasn't a mishap. I was told that they didn't want me in it. We talked about it on the podcast, and I don't know why. Well, I do know why, because I think that it was just one of the many tactics that not just the producers on the show used, but the producers in general of networks. And I mean, it was a very high tense situation. Every Tuesday we would rehearse all week, and every Tuesday they would have people from the network in suits come down and just watch us,
Okay.
and so it's not as it's a serious job with serious repercussions if anything goes wrong, so they keep a tight rein on your ass. That's the best way I can put it. But as far as now, I'm open about it. I think people should know, because I think people should know that we're human beings, and we're not let me tell you as much as I can of what's really going on, and maybe it can help you on your journey. That's how I think of it.
I love that. And also the fact that you thought this was true, or
I thought it was true.
20 years, right?
Yes. I can't even tell you what the last show of Boy Meets World looks like. I really can't tell you, because I've never watched it, but I was told that they didn't want me in the show, and that and then when I was so glad I brought that up on the podcast to them. And it really wasn't something I calculated bringing up. It just occurred to me, like, say you work somewhere and like all these things came out about your job, and maybe you run into the person later, like, hey, I forgot to tell you, hey, that do that. So it was kind of one of those things.
I'm so glad you mentioned that.
I'm glad I mentioned it, and they did not do that. They did not request to not have me on the show. Right. And thinking about it now, I would think that's a pretty big step to take.
Absolutely.
But it's just it's easy to believe too on my part, because it's such a dramatic environment, an intense environment constantly.
Yeah. And like you mentioned, it shows that human side, right? That it's not all glamorous, and it's not as perfect or as easy as some people might think it is. There's still a lot that goes into, the work that you do. And there are still going to be people that want to stir the pot, right? For whatever reason. And like you mentioned, y'all were kids, like, come on. Shame on the adults.
We were kids, and really, honestly, they were younger than me. That's not a normal upbringing. Could you imagine, like, being a kid I mean, they were on every Teen Beat magazine and all those Tiger Beat and everything.
Yes.
That's a cost to bear.
It is. And from what I know about you and just listening to you, you're so down to earth, and people know who you are, and they still watch your work. So what do you do, or what do you think has helped you to stay grounded?
To be honest, what's helped me, there are two things that have helped me stay grounded, or maybe three things. The number one thing that helps me to stay grounded is my faith. Just believing in my higher power keeps me very grounded. And it keeps me wanting to be in the safety of that. So, and then also having children keeps you very grounded. They are hardly impressed with, Boy Meets World or any other work I've done in the industry. They're impressed with how I'm relating and what I'm paying attention to about them. So, and that's that keeps me grounded. And then the other thing is actually, having been on Boy Meets World, it was such a tremendous show that for all of us, it really did inhibit us, I believe, from working in other markets after the show for a long time. But if you want to talk about what's keeping me grounded, being in that position of like, wow, I thought I was going to be like working forever, and now I do the show, and now we're kind of Urkeled out,
Urkeled
out. But that has kept me very actually grounded. I don't know if too much of this career is the best thing, in the long run.
Yeah.
What I do participate in, I'm really grateful for, and I'm grateful to have that balance,
Ooh, I like that word, balance. It took me a while to learn that word and to actually practice it. It was like work. And,
America does that to you. America really makes you feel like you have to do things. And lately, I told the rest of them, I'm like, of the castmates of Boy Meets World, it's like, I don't really check for me to do anything right now. I'm not selling anything. I'm not And I know that's weird to a lot of people, but it's like, I just want to be for a while, you know?
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. And like you mentioned, sometimes, especially nowadays, right? You feel like you have to go, 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 or who's doing the most. But I'm more about just, again, because I learned balance. It's like, it's okay to take a
Yeah.
mini break or to not do what everyone else is doing. And that's how I am. I'm like, I feel like when I want to post, I'll post something. If not, I'm like, no, I don't want another job. I don't want to do something else.
Yeah. We only have but so much time here. So you really got to be realistic about what's really making you happy, as opposed to what you think you might be urged to do because you saw something on your phone.
Yeah. Exactly. And what advice would you give to aspiring actors out there?
I would say one thing I can say that always keeps you in the door is really just be good. And what I mean by that is really do the homework, watch people on television, pinpoint kind of what you kind of acting you want to do. Do you want to do sci-fi? Do you want to do, get into the aging genre of sitcoms?
Yeah.
Think about what you want to do, pinpoint and copy the people that are doing it and are successful, and add your own twist to it. But you have to really, people don't rehearse. Everybody thinks they can just jump into things. And I wouldn't, if I hadn't, I can say, hey, the other castmates of that show, I think Danielle did a Barbie commercial in an episode of Full House, and then she was Topanga. And it was kind of similar with the others. But I think it, like, to be Angela was a really big tax. You're holding up a lot of cups to be that part. And it took all of the experiences from cutting school to do Bill Cosby to going to Italy with the Stallone to be able actually to come back and do that part and still have it be effective, 30 years later. And next year is the 30-year anniversary of Boy Meets World. So we're going to be doing a lot of Comic-Cons and stuff.
No way. Hopefully y'all come to Houston, Texas. Who should I write to? Like, can y'all come here?
Well, I love to.
Or if y'all, I don't know, if y'all do Dallas or Austin, hey, I might pop up.
I think, how are we doing? Austin, not Austin, but
Dallas.
We're doing Virginia, Chicago, Raleigh.
Okay.
Oh gosh, but I feel like there's one Texas place. Wait, let me look.
Yeah.
Oh, Austin. We're doing Austin September.
Oh, no way. Hey, that's a 3-hour drive. wait, September.
On, September 1st, 2023. You have plenty of time to I
might even just book a flight. It's like a 40-minute flight.
There you go. Book a flight. If I see you, I'll have you come up and we'll do some video stuff together.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. No, it'll be in my calendar as soon as we're done. I'm just going to go in there. Yeah. I love everything that you're doing. And I love seeing the pictures that the fans post and that people take next to you guys.
Yeah.
And we'll be right back with some rapid fire questions.
Sure, I don't know what that is. Ooh! You can do it. It sounds great.
You're like, is it gonna hurt? What is this? It's called Stuff It Up.
Okay.
And the first question is, favorite show to binge watch?
Seinfeld.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that show. Favorite way to unwind?
Watching old reruns of The Price is Right in the 80s.
Oh, I've never heard that answer. I like it. I should try that.
It's like nothing bad really happens. It's it's nice.
Your Price is Right is my Boy Meets World, honestly.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. Yeah, right.
Right. Okay, next question. Biggest pet peeve.
I have a lot of them, but my biggest pet peeve is people eating fast food. I hate seeing people eat fast food.
Okay, next one. First job.
Oh, my first job?
Yes.
My first job, I worked in a movie theater.
No way.
Yeah, and in Yonkers, New York. And there was so much popcorn on the floor, I remember, and I had these black shoes, and they were always like sticky and crunchy. And I would come home smelling like popcorn and butter.
Oh,
but yeah.
Little did you know that most of these people were going to be watching you.
No idea. And funny enough, the movie that would play all the time was Rocky V. And I grew up later to 10 years or whatever amount later to work with him, which is crazy.
Oh, isn't that crazy? Full circle.
The same thing happened with Boy Meets World, though. Real quick, in between Daylight and getting Boy Meets World, I was staying at this horrible hotel, and they had the TV didn't work, and only one channel would come in, and it was the channel. And I would, for some reason, Friday night, I was so disciplined on my audition. So Friday night, I'd be home, ready for Monday's audition. And and Boy Meets World used to come in all the time. I had no idea that I'd one day be on that show.
Isn't that
forced
crazy?
to watch it because the other channels didn't. Yeah.
It's like you were forced to watch what you were about to be on, like kind of like a lesson, kind of like, hey, prepare for this.
Exactly. You got to pay attention to what's in front of you. That's for sure.
What did you think about the show when you watched it?
Boy Meets World?
Yeah.
I wasn't. It was the earlier years, and it was okay. I honestly probably would have changed the channel. No offense to the show, but it wasn't. I found the college years more interesting when I watched.
For sure.
For myself, just if they all look so funny and small, then what I know now.
Yeah.
I mean that was love.
No, I see what you mean. Yeah. It's like when you're young, you can relate, but when you're older, you're like, okay, I'd rather see.
Yeah. I was like, what is this?
Oh, I love it. Okay, next one. Best decision you've ever made.
Having children.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. I don't have kids yet, but I have two nephews and a niece, and I love them like they are my own. And I see things differently, I see everything so differently. So I can only imagine for a parent how that must be. So
it's just good to have legacy out there. I think whoever hard it was sometimes, and it was a lot of fun too. Like that was a good decision to have that here in the world.
Yeah. Okay. So speaking of being a parent, a parenting hack you figured out.
Oh, okay. I used to take vegetables and put them in the blender and then sneak them into the spaghetti sauce.
Smart.
Yeah.
All right. I'm about to call my sister and have her do that.
Yeah, sauce covers everything. So
I like that. Okay, last one. Favorite Mr. Feeney lesson or a quote that you remember?
Dream, try, do good. That's the official.
Yes.
He has so many, but that one honestly didn't connect to that one until the last year at the Comic-Con I did with the rest of them, and people were wearing the shirt, and I was like, wow, okay. So yeah, that would be dream, try, do good. That's what it was. Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah,
he's so sweet. Must have been very special.
He has a delivery that is pretty amazing.
Yeah,
that his voice resonates, and he's so respectable as a person.
Also, by the way, I do know that you are doing some producing and writing. So that's producing is one of my favorite things. I feel like later down the line, once I'm over, being in front of the camera, I'm like, I love producing.
You can do both. You don't have to be over in front. You need to write and produce something for yourself while you're still flying, flying fabulous.
I like that. Right. Yeah. So that's something, but obviously that's something that you enjoy doing too.
Yeah. I do that. I've done that with my husband. We've done a bunch of just small films but over the years, they've carried us through the years. There's so many different platforms. And when we were doing our films, we had a little distributor, but now they're distributed everywhere. And a lot of our movies are on Tubi, Marcello Thedford and Trina McGee.
Yes.
But they're just fun little films. They got us through. I think we're actually in talks with a Pacific studio. I can't say yet to actually start producing again. Cool. I just did a movie with Danielle.
Yes.
Her and her husband are producing, and they're actually producing at the studio where we just found all of our old films from 10 years ago. So this should be very interesting. But
that is so cool. Yeah, and it's called Classmates, right?
It's called Classmates. Okay. It was so cute, such a fun movie to shoot. I was so happy when Danielle called and said, Trina, I have an offer. I want to do it. It's okay. And she was so sweet. And I was so grateful for the part in that. I have had so many auditions that have been like, just kind of like, I feel kind of derogatory to the African American woman by my standards. A lot of, baby mama crying, things like that. And so I was really happy to get the offer for her part in her movie, because I play a mom of a girl going to college, and that's more like me. I have my daughter's doing great. She went to college. She works for a big social media platform. There's really, I'd like to get out more like, just like Angela did, more of the Black experience that is positive, that is happening around the world. They show so much negativity, I think, lately particularly for the Black race in the media. So I really didn't want to continue to participate that. So yay, Danielle.
Yes, I love. And when will we be able to see that, you think?
I don't know. I think it should be on like later this year.
Okay. Oh, cool.
Or early January, I'm gonna say, but
that's so
if
exciting.
I call you back,
Yeah.
just
I will reach out to you.
it.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah, I saw a picture that y'all posted. It was so cool to just see.
The girl who is the lead, Caden Mueller, she is on a show called Villains of Valley View on Disney.
Okay. So yes. Yeah.
I've
seen that. Yeah. Oh, that is awesome. Well, I am so excited to watch and to keep supporting you. You are such a breath of fresh air, and it's it's so exciting to see you still making people so happy, and you're still inspiring people. And like you mentioned, I mean, obviously it's a very heavy role thing to hear, but it's also inspiring because you see too many negative things, I feel, nowadays.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, you just look. I'll be doing the cons next year. Look for me on social media. I'll be traveling. I'll be telling you how to heal yourself with certain herb potions that I love. I like to do really simple things and keep things really simple, show people how to live simply and happily, and not, it doesn't, and you can still be a big star too,
I like that.
Yeah. Check it out.
Absolutely. Balance, and obviously staying true to yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And you can find me on all the platforms, Trina McGee Official on Instagram, Trina McGee Official on Twitter and TikTok. Yeah.
Oh, we will be all on that.
I'll be traveling a lot next year, so it should be
okay. Yeah. And will you be like vlogging it, or?
I'm going to take a stab at kind of vlogging. I'll be going to some interesting places. I don't want to say.
Oh, nice.
When I go to places, I like to really get into the people. I like to get very untouristy and down with everybody. So watch out for that.
I love that. Love that. Obviously, we'll keep an eye out on your upcoming work, including Classmates. So that's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah. And watch me do nothing too. On media. That's always fun.
That's the best thing. It's the best thing to just live life.
Yeah.
Well, this is a fun way to end. Trina, thank you so much. You're such a joy, and loved chatting with you. This was so special, and I know a lot of people will enjoy hearing from you as much as I did.
Yay, that was fun. Do good.